Support for Mission Nonprofit is provided by Thurston Talk.
This program is provided in the public interest by Thurston Community Media. More information at TCMedia.org.
Hi, I'm Robert Kim, and you're watching Mission Nonprofit. Each month, we connect with local organizations and agencies that are making a positive impact in our communities. We've invited Danny Burkett and Kadesha Young from Our Ark to talk about their work. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
Danny, you're the founder of Our Ark. You do some really important work. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what you do for the community?
Well, Our Ark was stood up in February of 2021. We're almost at a year mark. I'm very excited by that. What we do, we break the cycles of homelessness for street youth and young adults here in Thurston County, ages 13 to 25. What we give for our youth are resources and services when it comes to laundry, mentoring, street outreach. We do the hygiene supplies. We also give them survival kits and food and all those sorts of things just for them to move into the next steps of their own lives.
Important stuff. And how do you find these youth?
Street outreach. We do a lot of street outreach. We do multiple times a week throughout Thurston County, especially downtown Olympia. And we find these kids wherever they may be. They could be in cars, they could be just walking up down the streets, in the corner of buildings, businesses, just wherever they may be. That's where they're at. I've been doing this for 6 years, so most of the kids, they know who I am when I walk up and down the streets.
So basically, you just start talking to people, right?
Yeah.
You find somebody, you know, that looks young, that looks homeless. You have to ask them their age at that point. Okay.
I do.
and they say, okay, you fit. You know, we're gonna help you out, and then you start and you go from there.
Right. Right.
And it's not just you. You have other volunteers.
We do. We do. We have multiple volunteers throughout the county that has said, you know, I want to help as well. But it's also the heart of the volunteer as well. They have to have a heart and a compassion and hope for our kids to be able to do this sort of work. It's a special type of person to do street outreach.
And Kadesha, you help train these volunteers, is that right?
Yes,
Tell us
I
a
do.
little bit about your background and what you do to help train the new people coming in.
So a little bit of my background, I'm a family therapist. I work with an outside counseling agency, and so I help assist Danny with the volunteer outreach training, which consists of a module pertaining to healthy relationships. We talk about trauma-informed youth, and we also teach them motivational interviewing skills too as well, so they know how to assess the youth that we work with when we're out doing street outreach.
And what are some of the ways that people, you know, I mean, we understand giving them food, we understand, you know, trying to find housing for them. What are some of the other kind of things that they need besides, you know, hygiene supplies and stuff, like the emotional, you know, aspect of it,
They need
therapy?
love and support. They need outreach specialists that can meet them right where they're at, understand what they are going through, and to resonate with them. And I think that takes the right type of person with the right type of heart and spirit to be able to do so. And so through our training, we're able to train our outreach specialists that work with our youth to be able to do that, so that we can meet them right where they're at, get to the root of the issue, the need, so that we can help them to transition to a more positive path.
I think that sounds like the more challenging part of it, but also probably the more important.
Yes.
Is that true?
Yes, but it's definitely a process. It doesn't happen overnight. It's kind of like an onion. You have to kind of peel layers of the onion. So it's kind of like a transformation process. It doesn't happen overnight, again, like I said, but it just takes one step at a time, and having that consistency, that is what they need. They need people that are going to support them and be consistent with them.
Yeah, and it probably takes a while for them to trust you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it does.
Now, what are the communities that you serve? We know Olympia. You said Thurston County.
Right.
So the cities, Olympia, Lacey, Tumwater.
Olympia, Lacey, Tumwater, Tenino, sometimes we'll go there. But our main post is Olympia and Yum, and Lacey. Yeah.
Now, you've gone and slept in the tent cities.
I have.
Yeah, those are the boots on the ground. Can you?
Yes.
And have you done that too, Kadesha?
No, I haven't, but I have gone out into the encampments and reached out to the youth and done motivational interviewing with some of the volunteers and show them how that process works. Pass food out to some of the youth that we work to too as well, but just actually going out and talking to them, getting to know them is something that I help assist our volunteers with doing so they can get comfortable with having those conversations with the youth to get them to kind of open up a little bit more.
And do your other volunteers do things like sleep in the camps?
No, none of our volunteers has slept in the camps at this point. I'm the only one that has been going out to the camps because the camps are not always that safe when you go out. So I want to make sure that if they were to be able to want to go out and just spend the night, they would spend the night in their cars. I wouldn't allow our volunteers to go out to go into the camps like that because it really does take a special type of person to go out there and just stay in the camp areas like that when you're amongst all the debris and the chaos of just everyday living or being homeless.
And you bring your own tent, you bring your own supplies, and
Yes.
and you've stayed safe
Yes.
doing this. Yeah.
With a military background, I'm used to going out into the field a lot, so I know how to adjust myself to being out into camps in any type of weather.
Now, there was a big encampment downtown at
Yes.
Deschutes Parkway, which
Yes.
has been condemned. And what do you think is going to happen now? I know those people were put up in, some of them were put up in hotels, and that period is over. Are they sleeping in a different tent in different places? What's your scoop on that?
Well, I wanted to make sure that the kids had somewhere safe to be. I offered them places to be in the hotel. We had raised some money for our kids to be in the hotel for at least 30 days. We did house at least 8 kids in the hotel for 30 days. That went very well. We have 2 of them that are being mentored directly because of that. And they're moving along really well. Because just of that stay and because of the community had stepped up just to provide those services for us. But for those that we did not put in hotels, that is my big concern as of this moment. Our Ark wants to know, where are you going? Every time we do go on street outreach, we go to their hotel rooms and ask them, what is your next step from here? And we try to help and guide them on where their next steps are at. But we are working every day and working really hard to see if we can be able to give them a safe place to go before the ending of the hotel. But if that does not happen, we go to where they're at still, no matter what the case may be. Because like I said, it's more than just an overnight process. It is a process.
You mentioned the number 8, like 8 youth that were, I guess, in the Deschutes encampment.
There were more than 8 in the
But 8
Deschutes.
of the ones that you helped.
8 were in the hotel that Our Ark put in.
Okay.
There are at least 5 or 6 other youth that Our Ark did not put into a hotel. Okay. So altogether, that's at least 14 to 15 kids that are in hotels right now at this moment. This is not including those that are on the street outreach portion part. So even though they're in hotels, Our Ark still goes to their hotels, make sure they're getting support and getting the systems that they need in place as far as like food and clothing and laundry, and still letting them know that Our Ark has not left yet.
Okay. Are they still in hotels right now?
They are still in hotels at this moment. Not the ones that we put in, but the ones that the city has put in, yes.
Okay. All right. So we're hoping that they find host families and
Yes.
that they can work to achieve their goals. We were able to talk with one of these youth that you put up in a hotel, Tinsley Embers. Why don't we take a look at this video about more about Our Ark and one of the youth that you helped out.
Okay.
And then we'll come back and talk more.
Okay, cool.
I've been homeless on and off for the past 3 or 4 years. The first time was due to the fact that my family did not accept me of who I am and what I believe in, and I decided I couldn't live with them no more. in the beginning, I had no survival skills. I didn't know what I was doing. I knew nothing. I went from knowing absolutely nothing to sleeping under overpasses with no tent, nothing, to just being able to find decent shelters where I won't be robbed in my sleep. I have to carry a knife on me at all times because a lot of these homeless people are unforgiving. I've been mugged several times by many different people. It's hard. It is a very hard life, but it's also humbled me in quite a few ways. When I was 13, I just looked at homeless as just scum on the street. Now that I'm in the same boat, I realize that's not what they are. That's not what they are at all. They're just people down on their luck. Our Ark has helped me get on track here and there with getting my food handler's card, so I'm able to start a job at McDonald's. They got me a mentor to help me figure out what I need help with and help me get the stuff that I need help with. Like, I need help getting my birth certificate, and help me get my state ID, and they're also helping me with community service hours, because I had an incident back in September with a drunk stepfather. My hope for that short term is, one, get back to school and also work. I gotta get my GED or my diploma. I want to leave a legacy on this planet.
Welcome back to Mission Nonprofit. Our guest is Our Ark, and this is Danny's first time seeing the video, and it's choked him up some. It's gotten to him. And you're working with Tinsley on and it looks like things have been progressing. How is Tinsley doing right now?
Oh, he's doing really well. He's been learning to write out weekly tasks and goals for himself. He's been completing his tasks and goals. He still has a couple of job interviews that's coming up.
Great.
They have a stage worksheet that they go through, what you call our journey pathways, that he progresses on every day with his mentor. He has his own personal mentor.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
And you know Tinsley, Kadesha. What were your experiences with Tinsley?
He came up to me. He's very kind and gentle.
Awesome.
I've spoken with him just a general just meet and greet, but the form that they use to kind of help assist the youth that we work with is the form that he uses to kind of help him to monitor his daily to-do tasks. So I just think that it's amazing that I was able to incorporate that portion into what some of the influential mentors that we work with within our organization use as a tool to help assist our youth.
Yeah, some of the things he talks about, you don't think how hard it is to get an ID, especially, when you don't have your birth certificate, when you've run away from home. But those are some of the really important, tangible things that Our Ark does.
Yes.
Is help with, filing for things. And he mentioned the food handler's permit.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes when you're young, you don't know where to start. So that whole mentoring helps out.
It's really important for our youth to have their own mentor and support. Without a mentor, the process is very slow for them to get to where they need to be, where they want to be in their own lives. So we work very hard to assure that each one of our kids that we engage with that are accepting, that want to be a part of the program of mentorship, that we provide them a mentor, which is always consistently looking for and recruiting mentors in our community.
Yes.
y'all are looking for volunteers.
Yes, we are. We are. We need as many volunteers and mentors that we can get, and I'll definitely be helping to assist with the training pertaining to the mentors and volunteers.
What is kind of expected and required of your volunteers?
So the first thing is that you have to go through our orientation process training. So that will be via Zoom, and they will go on, we'll do a common meet and greet and go through the modules to help assist them through the training. And then after they have gone through that orientation, they'll go out and they'll do what we call street outreach. And so they'll be giving a purple t-shirt, and then after they have completed 4 hours of street outreach, volunteering hours, they'll be able to get a Our Ark t-shirt that has the organization logo on it, which a lot of the youth that we work with identify us just from the purple t-shirts. So that's our
And Danny's got one of these
that's
purple
what makes us
t-shirts.
distinct.
I do.
So
I
this
do.
this identifies that you're safe. You're with a group that cares about them, and they know and trust Our Ark.
And that's where the title of Our Ark came from. Exactly what you just said. They know that it is their safe space. They are safe. They can trust us with anything they may want to talk about. It's Our Ark. It's their refuge. That's what it is.
And these purple shirted volunteers, they don't have to go and sleep in a tent city. They don't have to do things they're not comfortable with.
Right.
But so let's maybe go over some of the things they can do. I know you hand out food, you hand out hygiene supplies. What are some of the things that you might, just the kind of different variety of things a volunteer could do?
Well, volunteers can pack, they can donate food.
Yeah.
They can pack our 1-gallon bags that we give our kids. We call our snack bags. They can help organize our storage that we have. They can promote our organization by placing flyers and being an influencer on social media, fundraising events. They can do a plethora of things in administration work. We lead a lot of people administration work. If you're one that just want to stay behind the scenes, pick up and drop off donations. There's so many ways that people can be involved.
Let's talk about like specialized volunteers. You talked about, administrative stuff. Maybe people have certain skills that you may require. What are some of those things? What are the kind of specialized skills you're looking for in a volunteer, in addition to just the people that have, the big hearts? You want people that have a big heart that want to help. But what are some of the more advanced skills? I know like therapists would be important, right,
Yes.
Kadesha?
We definitely need them to be able to have effective communication skills as well as be able to actively listen. Active listening plays a major, huge role in what we do during outreach, because we have to be able to actively listen to the youth that we work with and take mental note. There are some volunteers that, kind of take notes on pen and paper, but sometimes that tends to make the youth feel a little bit more uncomfortable. So understanding how to go through that process and remembering what was discussed is a big thing. So effective communication is key, active listening, and being connected to community resources and reaching out to community resources within the community that can kind of help assist with what it is that we're doing. For example, maybe you might know an organization within the community that will be willing to donate hats and scarves, things of that nature, and then they donate you the hats and scarves, and then we come back as a team and put those in what we would call charity bags, and we take them out to our youth to help assist them so that they're not cold during the cold times.
Well said. Okay, good. And you need people to financially back you, so you're always looking
Yes.
for donations.
Donors,
I'm sure that's
yes.
on your website.
Yes.
Our Ark, YTH.org.
Mm-hmm.
So you can go there for to learning how to be a volunteer or to donate. What are some of the other things that you can find on your website?
Well, you can find how to become a mentor, what it takes to become a mentor. Finding out what we do. We have videos about our street outreach. You can find out how we conduct street outreach and more information on that. You can find out our upcoming events that's coming on. We have a campaign that's coming up. You can also see some of my youth stories, true, real life stories that has happened, and also see our impact we have on within the organization.
Do you have some big backers out there that you want to give a shout out to, like some community support groups that maybe donate to you or help you out?
We don't have any big backers. We do have some really great, awesome donors, consistent donors.
Okay.
But as far as like big backers, when we think about what thousands of dollars, not yet.
Okay.
But we are working on a project right now that we are hoping that goes through, and then we'll be a part of the big wigs.
How do you supply? Are you able to supply laundry services and showers to the youth?
We are able to supply laundry service.
Okay.
We are 100% volunteer led. So our laundry service are by compassionate volunteers who want to help our youth.
Out of their home.
Out of their home.
Take the clothes to their home and,
Yes.
and wash
Yes.
them and bring them back.
Or preferably that we take the youth to a laundry mat where they can
and pay for it.
and they wash their own clothes, learning how to wash their own clothes, fold their clothes, and how much it costs to do so, and all of that, because we're getting them ready and prepared to be independent.
Yes.
We're getting them ready and prepared to be in their own place. So by the time you get your own place, you know how to laundry clothes, you know how to wash, you know not to put in your red and your whites in the same
Yeah.
wash.
Okay. Yeah,
Yes.
because a lot of youth, I mean, some do, but
Right.
a lot of youth are still youth and
Yeah,
have not had to
exactly.
do their own laundry.
Exactly.
But so the training of doing laundry is
Right.
just as important as the laundry service itself,
Right.
it sounds like.
It's a lot of work, what we do. Mentorship takes a very special person as well, because mentorship is different from the street outreach team. The mentorship takes at least 5 hours a week. As far as the street outreach team, maybe 2 or 3 hours a week. That's one day. But the mentorship is multiple days a week, because you're in consistent contact and communication with the youth. Because if they need someone to talk to, they just need some advice, they're going through something, they call a mentor first. So we are always available. Being a mentor, you have to always be available. Availability is so important, and consistency. If you do not have consistency, you're not able to become a mentor or a person on street outreach, because that's what kids need, is consistency to build that trust with one another, with us.
Okay, so it's important for your volunteers
Yes.
not to stick with it.
Right.
Yeah. You want that in your volunteer, somebody that's...
Yes, someone who have to look at their own personal lives and say, do I have 4 hours a week to be a mentor or just to conduct street outreach?
Okay.
They really have to look at that, because people coming in and out, it's hard for us as Our Ark to build trust with kids if volunteers are coming in and out of their lives like that. So that's why the process of training our volunteers is the way it is, because we want to make sure this is something that you want to do.
Yeah, but that mentorship step is kind of a step up, because you can
It is.
start with
It is.
just being a volunteer, handing out food
Right.
packs, snack packs, and stuff like that, and you don't have to take that extra step.
Right.
But if you're ready for it,
Yeah,
then you
a
can.
mentor is a step up. It is.
Let's talk a little bit about your campaign that you have in the summer. It's a night in their shoes. Is that what it's called?
Walk a night
in their shoes.
Walk a night in their shoes awareness campaign. That's
All
what
right.
it is. So last year, I went and did a 45-day and 45-night Walk a Night in Their Shoes campaign. So basically, I walked the streets of Thurston County in every city, Yam, Lacey, Olympia, and Tumwater for 45 days. I spent the night out for 5 days straight. And just to get the experience and get the research on what is the night like walking in youth shoes. You would never get the full focus and the full experience just by doing 45 days or just even spending one night out there. But just the time that I was out there, that is not the place to be, I'll tell you that. I was up all night in the tents. I was surrounded by debris. I woke up in debris. I went to bed in chaos. So I'm just like, the mental state, just understanding how your mental state is, where's the food coming from, all these other different type of things is going on, and that's on a daily basis that these kids are going through every day. So when you have that and you go back home like, man, I got a warm bed, I have a TV, I have food in my refrigerator, and these kids are struggling with just a simple basic needs. So basically their life is all about survival. I'm not thinking about trying to go to school. I want to think about this now. I'm thinking about, is somebody going to steal my stuff when I leave it? And where I'm going to get my food at? Am I going to be safe tonight? I have no door to lock it. All this stuff is going on. But we're trying to be there to say, you know what? you have a safe space, you have someone that you can call just in case. So we want you to start thinking about school. It takes a little itty bitty small steps. We're not saying you're going to school right now, no. We got to make sure we get that storage space first. The storage just means the mind. So we're going to make sure you're equipped to go to school first, equipped to go to jobs first before we start doing all of that. So when we did the 45 days, we learned a lot about doing that. We had engaged into 72 kids just in that 45 days. We engaged with 72 street kids. We did send home 5 kids during that time, so that was a very good success for us. But then, of course, not everybody stay home, but some of them do come back because it's still needing some more mentorship that goes into place. So what we learned is that every kid needs their own personal mentor. That's what we learned. We learned that our kids need more positive adult assistance. They need more resources. They need more shelters. They need us. They need people. They need you. That's what they need.
And they're not going to school, or are some of them going? None of them are going to school.
We have one.
Too overwhelming.
We have one that's in school right now. Other than that, the other 2 mentors at this moment. So we have 3 that are directly in mentorship right now. One is enrolled in school. The other 2 are almost in the process of getting there. We've been working with them for at least 4 months, and they're already in that process. But it's also about the willingness of the youth. Do they have the willingness to want to change? And some of them do. And some of us just need that push to say, you know what, I can't do this. But if they don't have that push that they can, they won't. So we're here to push you and encourage you, empower you to want to make those changes.
Right. We're running out of time, but why don't we go to each of you and mention anything that we didn't get to talk about, something that's important, or some last thoughts. So let's start with you, Kadesha. Is there anything that we didn't talk about that you want to bring up?
One thing that we didn't get a chance to mention is that we also give our youth brochures that provide them with local community resources too as well. Like say for example, if they didn't know the contact information or the address to Rosie, that brochure would have the contact information and the telephone number for that local organization to kind of help assist them with resources that they may not be aware of.
We had a homeless person that lived here in the back at TCMedia. And, it was a shock how hard it is to get a hold of some of the resources for them because they don't have internet access. You have to be on hold for a long time. So I'd imagine that one of the, things that volunteers could do is make those phone calls.
Yes.
Yeah, and be a phone number for people to, so. How about you, Danny? Anything you would like to mention?
Yeah, I want to carry off what Kadesha was saying is that communication is important with our kids. They need our assistance to help them navigate through the systems when trying to call those resources.
Yes.
Majority of them will not call the resources unless you're right there beside them and helping them along the way. Not doing it for them, but just helping them along the way, and having the phones and the communication is important because without those communication lines, we're not able to do what we need to do with them.
So do some of your volunteers kind of lend their cell phones to work for?
If they don't have a phone, we will let them use our phones to make connections. Like sometimes we'd be on the phone for 2.5 hours just to get through DHS.
Gosh, and that's something that they're probably not going to do because they've got to watch their back,
Because they're
right?
quick. They're quick first, but we're like, no, we're going to keep going. We're going to keep going. It's all about encouragement and empowerment. It's a consistent thing. It's work.
Well, thanks for everything y'all do for these homeless youth in our community. And I wish you all the best. And I hope people out there will go to your website, ourarkyth.org, make a donation, look up that volunteer plan, and follow you. Because you also have some Facebook and Instagram sites and stuff. And
we do.
So thanks for being on the show.
Thank you for having us.
That's all we have for you. Please visit their website, ourarkyth.org. You can also find them on Facebook at Our Ark and on Instagram at OurArkYTH. See you next time.
Support for Mission Nonprofit is provided by Thurston Talk.
This program is provided in the public interest by Thurston Community Media. More information at TCMedia.org.